Let's go. Okay, so e4. Let's play some sort of a Sicilian. I don't know which one, but I want to play a Sicilian. I want to play a Najdorf. I want to play a Najdorf. Let's play d6. Najdorf is sort of my childhood opening. I don't play it as much anymore. Now, obviously, he could play anti-Sicilian. Yeah, he does play anti-Sicilian. b3. Okay, b3 is a legitimate move. It's rare, but it's one of those, one possible anti-Sicilian. And black has many good setups against b3. Many good ways to meet this. But okay, let me just remember what I analyzed. Okay, I think I know what I want to show you guys. So one very good setup against the move b3 is, well, first of all, let's begin with the development move knight c6, and then I'll show you what to do after bishop b2. He could also go bishop b5. That's second move, bishop b2. On a basic level, okay, thank you, Domino D. On a basic level, this is a good bishop. It's on a long diagonal. If we wanted to shut this bishop down, could we do that? Could we shut this bishop down? And that's what we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to play the move e5. Now, some of you might think this move is problematic, and it has its drawbacks. It weakens the d5 square quite seriously. You might think it makes the bishop bad, and all of that technically is true. But the fact that we are shutting down his bishop as severely as we are, this is kind of called the Botvinnik setup, although not exactly, but you can think of it that way, it's all worth it. And as I'll show you guys, this bishop is going to come alive later. I believe that. How should we continue the setup? We have several ways to manage the development of the knight and the bishop. The most simple way is to just go knight f6 and bishop e7. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if we want to preserve the integrity of the Botvinnik setup, what we do is we fianchetto this bishop and get the knight over to e7. Why would we go to such lengths to do that? Because once we castle, who can tell me what plan becomes a lot easier to achieve? What active plan on the king side? If you play the King's Indian, then you'll know what I'm talking about. f5. At some point, we want to be able to play f5 and tear things open on the king's side. Now, you might ask, well, why don't we do it immediately and then play knight f6? Well, it's premature. You don't want to weaken the king this early in the opening before you've completed your development, right? So, in what order shall we do things? I like fianchettoing the bishop first. You could also start with knight g7. But fianchettoing is a little bit more flexible because maybe in some situations, we'll want to get the knight over to f6. Now, the typical 1900 move here would be to play knight d5. And that wouldn't be bad. But I'll talk about it. So bishop g7, fianchetto. So, yeah, there we go. I've got my experience with these types of players. I've taught a good share of them. Now, with outposts, there's two things to bear in mind. Technically speaking, this is an outpost, right? Because no pawn can chase away the knight. But outposts can also be chased away or traded off by your pieces. And so thank you so much, Chess Dojo, with a rate of 74. Outposts can be traded by pieces. And so particularly, this is good when you're just developing normally and simultaneously contesting the outpost. So all you have to do here, don't panic, don't go to crazy moves, just knight g7. And I'm finishing up a speedrun here, guys, for today. We're having tons of hype, so much support today. I'm super appreciative. And now another raid. Bishop b5. Again, don't panic and take on d5, because after he takes d5, the knight is going to be pinned. Well, what would be the most sort of authoritative move? Let's put it this way. What would be the most authoritative move? Yeah, just go a6, chase away this damn bishop. If he takes on c6, we will definitely take with a pawn and force this knight out of d5. He goes back to e2. Great. Get out of there. Okay, so let's castle. Again, notice that I'm not even taking his knight. We don't need to rush with that. We don't need to rush with that move until we feel that the opportune moment has arrived. I feel like that opportune moment is now. He's played a very weird move, c3, and he clearly wants to play d4 and open up the center. So I think this is the appropriate time to take on d5. And where are we going to put the knight afterward? Why is this the moment to take on d5? Where are we going to put the knight after he takes back? We are going to put it on e7. We're going to put it back where the other knight was, immediately attacking the pawn on d5. Now, what you guys are going to see is that he's got to defend that pawn. and he'll probably defend it by playing c4. There it is. And now he can no longer play d4. So we've basically caused him to lose a tempo. Do you guys want to set a trap here? Now, there is a move that a lot of you should see, particularly if you're doing your tactics. You should see a particular idea here. The idea is e4. e4 exposes an attack against the bishop and attacks the knight. Let's calculate it for a second. After e4, he has to play bishop takes bishop. Now, what additional option do we have here? What additional option do we have here? So let's calculate methodically. e4, bishop takes g7. We can take the knight on f3. That's correct. Take the knight on f3. And after bishop takes f8, f takes e2. I'm sure you've probably seen lines like this. Bishop, queen takes e2, queen takes f8. And at the end of the day, we have two pieces for a rook. Black is better there. Undoubtedly, black is better. Against another GM, I would have played e4. But I want to set a trap. I want to show you guys how these traps could work. So we go rook e8 first. We hope that he castles. We hope that he doesn't understand what the idea is and castles. He does. But still, e4 is extremely strong in this position. I anticipated that. Still, e4 is extremely strong. Because if he plays bishop takes g7, then we play e takes f3. The rook is no longer hanging. So that's why rook e8 is an interesting move. It's a little bit of hope chess, but here's the thing, folks. Okay, thank you for the bishop. It doesn't ruin your position. And the most important advice that I can share in terms of setting traps is to only do it. It's fine to set some traps. You don't have to play like a saint, but you got to make sure that it doesn't ruin your position. So what do we do now? He just messed this up completely. Boom, boom. Same diagonal. Bishop f5. Good job, Malcolm. And you guys know that on the speedrun, I don't advocate this kind of play. But once in a while, it's fine. Once in a while, setting a trap and seeing what happens is standard, and I want to also show you what that looks like. Let's take here. He's going to go knight g5, but we're not afraid of that. Okay. So why are we not afraid of it? Because we have many ways to deal with this. What's the simplest way of dealing with the threats? Yes, downward. I'm advocating it right now, but please don't take my words out of context. I'm not advocating setting traps in every position. What I'm advocating is once in a while, if you see a very juicy trap that you feel like is easy to miss, and it doesn't clearly ruin your position if your opponent sees through it, it's fine to do it once in a while. This concept that you should never set tricks. Tricks are always bad. Who are we kidding here? I don't subscribe to that thought. Yeah, knight f5 is excellent here. Knight f5, bringing the knight out. Exposing his knight on g5, everything collapses. The bishop is hanging. This is over. At the end of the day, you're playing chess to win games. That's the bottom line goal here. So if there is a kind of a practice that raises your percentage and doesn't build terrible habits, but maybe isn't the way you'd play against a GM, that's okay. So bishop e5 is extremely strong here, dislodging the queen from the knight. We could also have taken on e2 first and then gone bishop e5. It really doesn't matter. Why doesn't the opponent resign? I have no idea, but he's under no legal obligation to. Okay, knight f7. Okay, now as soon as you see an option to trade queens, I would take it. Just trade queens. Don't bother yourself with crap. Don't bother yourself with various shenanigans. Just take the knight. We could have also taken the bishop. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to really comment on this. Okay. Now, if you want to play clinically, bishop d3 is good here, but let's just take. I don't care. Let's get the rook into e2. Let's swing the bishop over to d4, centralizing it and attacking f2. He's probably going to go king f1. Rook d1. Okay. Thanks again, guys, for the incredible support today. I really, really appreciate it. Altitude with 100 subs. Dikayo and Chikfunga with 50. That's crazy. So let's quickly take a look. And I'll be back later on as well. So, yeah, so this e5 move shuts down the bishop because it creates a little bit of a pawn chain here that forces the bishop to bite on granite. Now, again, a lot of you hesitate to play this move because it weakens the d5 square. But I have the sort of, because I'm experienced in these structures, one of the things that I know is that knight d5 is usually not dangerous. Just putting the knight on d5 does not automatically create threats against your position. That's what you have to understand. So, first of all, do not go here, because then you get checkmated. That would be a little sag. Thank you, Jesus Shuttlesworth 3. Appreciate it. So don't do that. I've seen people lose like that. First, you would want to fianchetto the bishop. But at your leisure, you can play knight g7. And guess what? That knight is going to get traded. This knight is not actually giving him any kind of advantage. So what's the generalizable lesson here? Outposts, let me think about how to formulate this. An outpost is not inherently good. You should only fear an outpost if it truly is eternal, like you really cannot trade anything for that piece, or if it causes some sort of active damage to your position. Oh, he puts a knight on d5 and it dominates over the position. Outposts do not win games. Moves win games. And an outpost needs to be converted into some other advantage to win. Nobody has ever won a game only because of an outpost. An outpost is a positional advantage that has to be further transformed or combined with other advantages. Outpost in Russian is forpost. It's like four-post. Forpost. Yeah. So it's similar. So h3, bishop g7. And here you can very clearly see the fact that we are essentially able to take the knight at our leisure. So a6, why is that important? Because I wanted to get rid of the pin. And I was hoping that he would take on c6. Because then we would take with a pawn. We would get this very nice pawn mass. Even though the pawns are doubled, I still like this structure. And then what's going to be our follow-up here with black? How should black continue in this position? Not d5. So that's a mupwa. That's the most popular wrong answer. That's the most popular wrong answer. Although d5 is not terrible. d5 goes against the zen of this setup because it reopens the bishop. It gives the bishop a purpose. And after something to the effect of ed and rook e1, you can see how weak the e5 pawn becomes. Maybe even knight e5 works. I don't want to calculate. I'm too lazy to calculate this. But maybe this works, something like f6, f4. And even if it doesn't work, you're basically giving this bishop a purpose again. And I would say this overextends black just a little bit. So instead of d5, go f5. f5 is far stronger. And then you have basically two ideas, either opening up the f file, or if he allows you to do it, go King's Indian style, f4, g5, h5, g4, and try to overrun him with pawns. This is a super typical plan. Look at how passive white's position is. White has no clear ideas here. Maybe c3 and d4, but this is not terribly dangerous. I would maybe lean toward taking on e4 and playing with the pieces, but this is an excellent position either way. If they capture with that ef5, yeah, bishop is fine. I like taking with a pawn too, and then creating the possibility of maybe a rook left to g6. And we just have incredibly good pawn center here. I just like this, the look of this. But don't take with a rook here because that's a little clunky and it blocks the bishop. So either, I would say either take, either take with a bishop or take with a pawn. What do I think about bishop d7 instead of a6? It's fine, but again, why not force the matter when you want? I mean, why keep his bishop on an active square? I just don't see the benefit of that. And this bishop is perfectly fine as it is. I wouldn't necessarily feel the urge to develop it further to d7. Okay, so the way that he played takes knight e7, c4, and now rook e8 is the trap. So again, if e4 instead, we've got this mass trade, and we get two pieces for a rook, then this knight can come out to d4. So black is better. But rook e8 is a classic preparatory move. What should he have done? It's not actually that easy to defend against this, believe it or not. Because e4 is a standalone threat. The knight has no good places to go. That's the funny thing. So after queen c2, e4, what he should have done is probably just like knight h2 and bite the bullet here. Okay, minor particle, thank you for the prime. Now, if he had gone knight g5 here, after takes, as a last question, who can tell me how black should proceed in this position? This is a trick question, guys. This is a trick question. It's not knight takes d5. That's the thing. Because after knight takes, who can tell me why? It's not knight takes d5. This is hard. Because of knight f7. This is a desperado counter sacrifice, after which the position is unclear, although black is still better. But remember, you don't always have to do something with a sacrifice. Knight f5, in my opinion, is much stronger. Why? Because you attack the knight just the same. The knight has no good squares. You have to defend it. Now get out of there. And now look at how much black dominates here. You can take on h4, and then this knight swings over to this amazing square on d4. And this actually is an incredible outpost, because in contrast to the knight on d5, this knight is unassailable. It's almost impossible to trade it. White's knight is like nowhere near e2. And this knight creates, you know, actual serious threats. Knight takes e2, it presses down on white's position. And it combines with the other pieces. You know, that's the point I'm trying to make here. And you should not consider an outpost as a standalone unit. You have to look at how the other pieces are working with it. Yeah, he could sack his queen, that's true. And so that's how we won the game. Okay, he blundered the bishop, but at the end of the day, he was already in trouble. So, by the way, guys, rook e8 is not a cheesy move. It's the computer's third recommendation. Second now. Rook e8 is basically the strongest move in the position because e4 is such a strong threat. So like I said, I was not trying to play cheap, crappy moves. It didn't ruin the position at all. e4 is a very, very strong, very hard threat to deal with. And now it's top. Now it's top. Rook e8 is a top move, actually. So sometimes traps also correspond with being the best move. It is kind of a trap that we're threatening to win a piece, but e4 isn't only threatening to win a piece. Also, this knight has nowhere to go, if that makes sense. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I have a lesson. I have another lesson. I will try to be back for about another hour and a half at approximately 8:15 Eastern. I'll try to be back for an hour and a half at 8:15 Eastern. No promises. I've had a very long week, but what's made this week easier is the incredible support all week long, particularly today. I just want to thank everybody who contributed today with subs, and obviously the sub bombs were amazing. We're back over 5,000 subs. I'm super pumped about that. So thank you guys. This is amazing stuff. Hope you enjoyed the speedrun. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for hanging out. I know you do, and I appreciate you in return. Thank you for hanging out, guys. Take care. Enjoy Ludwig's return to chess. I'll see you guys later today. Later.